SLS Divakar, electrical. Pongu Rammohan Rao, atano. But recently, Hudhud Tupan Tarvata, he was running some school for Sai Baba school for courtesy. I think Murthy can throw some light on that. Anadhasrayam Koti, Rajesh Tundivar Baba, he expired very just very short, within few minutes. Next to Siva Prasad Rao. In Buddha, very 19th December, very recently. Because of that, P. Kondakar Civil used to be in Goa. Yerra Ramakrishna, why Ramakrishna, Pichara Krishna, we could not raise him. So like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 people, Veeru, Manandi, Vadipeti, Parlokan, so Vari, Okaranda Nimishabu, please, Andhra Nelbudi. ఈ సంతాప సభ తర్వాత లాంఛనప్రాయంగా ఈనాటికి సభ పరిసమాప్తం. మళ్ళీ భోజనం తర్వాత చెప్పినట్టు 2:30కి కలుద్దాం.
you. Sorry that this is a post-lunch session. Post-lunch sessions are notoriously sleepy, so I don't know how far I will be able to keep you awake with a subject like this. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk to you about, for the next 20 minutes, about the subject called holistic health. We heard about this, the word health. We all know what health is. Many of us may or may not know what is a holistic health. So I want to spend a few minutes to share my thoughts, share my experiences in the area of holistic health. Health, as defined by World Health Organization, is defined a state of well-being. They say it's a state of well-being. Well-being in what respects? Physical, mental and social. In three aspects, they define health as a state of well-being. But they also said that if a person is free of disease, free of any ailment, it doesn't mean that he is healthy. If he is not having any infirmity, it doesn't mean he is healthy. So health rotates around the physical, mental and social aspects of it. Next. Next. Oh, yeah. Okay. When we talk about holistic health, there is another dimension also added to this. And this dimension is the spiritual part of it. That means when you talk about holistic health, it has got physical health, mental health, social compatibility and spiritual enrichment also. Why? Because a person, if he doesn't have all of these attributes or qualities around him, he is not well rounded in his life and he cannot come out in flying colors in a social environment in all areas. So holistic health is different from a normal health in this respect. Next. Yeah, the difference between a normal health and a holistic health is mainly in two respects. That is, holistic health gives more emphasis on prevention rather than cure. We all know that prevention is better than cure. So there is a lot of emphasis on prevention rather than cure. And another thing it gives emphasis on is the personal responsibility. Normally, when we talk about health, we go to the hospital, we go to a doctor, we get some drugs prescribed by him and we follow as what he says. But then, in case of a holistic health, what it says is that the responsibility of the patient is also to a large extent involved. So these are the two aspects in which the holistic health is different from the normal health. And it also tells a few attributes which are required to be in a good holistic health scenario: nutrition, exercise and mental relaxation. So these are the aspects which normally a medical health professional may not, I say may not recommend and may not put you into. Next. Now this is a holistic health line. If you see this line on the left side, it represents dire illness. On the extreme right side, it says optimum wellness. So holistic health process is a dynamic process wherein one travels from the left side, the dire illness, aspiring towards maximum wellness. So this is the dynamic process of traveling from one side to another. If you look at different people, different persons, so each of them may be at some point in this line. Some may be towards extreme light, many may be towards extreme light, but most of the people are somewhere in between. So their endeavor through holistic health is to move from left to an optimum wellness. The efforts are in that direction if you want to follow holistic health principles. This is a biopsychosocial model of holistic health. You can see three entities in this: the mind, the body, and the spirit. So I told you that the spirit is another word added, for holistic health. But these entities, as far as the holistic health is concerned, they are not separate from each other. They are interrelated, intertwined, and depend upon each other. For example, if your body is in physical pain, your emotions are affected. And on the other hand, if you have got mental agony, your body functions are affected. So they are interrelated. But if you are spiritually involved, your mind may be at peace, your body may be at rest. So the holistic health looks at this model in a big way as interrelated to each other, and the holistic health concepts and the way of treating people also revolve around these three entities. Let's look at what is the traditional health care and the holistic health care. Two major differences are there. In the traditional health care, medical doctors, they treat the body and not the mind. Whereas the mental health professionals, they treat the mind and may not care much for the body. But in a holistic situation, none of them, of course, they address the spiritual aspect of the patient. But in a holistic situation, the spirituality is also brought in. Both these doctors, what they do is they treat the symptoms with the drug or surgery rather than looking at what causes the symptoms. So unless you attack the symptoms, it's only a temporary phase whereby your body ailments are cured but not permanently. As I told you earlier, the holistic health approach doesn't view the body and mind and spirit as separate entities. It looks for inherent causes of symptoms rather than just treating the symptoms with a drug. It uses drugs or surgery only when all other avenues are exhausted and then there is no result from that one. I told you earlier that the involvement of the person, the patient rather, in a holistic health situation is a very important aspect. In a conventional healthcare, what happens? You go to a doctor, he looks at you, he asks you for the symptoms, he makes some diagnosis, and then he prescribes some drugs. You take the drugs, go home and drugs, and hope for the best. But in a holistic healthcare project, what happens is you are a team. The person who is treating you and the patient who is being treated, there is a team. They understand each other, and then whatever the person who is treating you tells you, your responsibility is to follow that, understand it. So this is the difference between a conventional healthcare and a holistic healthcare. There are some holistic healthcare approaches. Next one. Next. Yeah. Complementary medicine. Any therapy which complements the conventional Medicare, that is allopathic Medicare as you know about, is a complementary medicine. For example, when somebody undergoes a surgery or serious illness and is being treated by a doctor, but then it may be possible that there are some side effects which cannot be treated or which are causing problems. it may be possible by going into unconventional, non-conventional medical means, like homeopathy or allopathy, naturopathy or any of these things, it may be possible you may cure the side effects or symptoms. In that case, we call that as a complementary medicine. I know that in some parts of the country, some of the allopathic doctors, they advise their patients. In some cases where the things are not curable by allopathy, they advise them to go to homeopathic or naturopathic or other ways of treating the ailments. We'll see what are those complementary medicines. Alternative medicine. Yeah, in alternative medicine, it totally replaces the conventional medical care. That means it doesn't look at any allopathy medical treatment at all. So they totally prescribe non-conventional medical treatments, and then in that case, we call that as alternative medicines. Many of the chronic ailments, which are not treatable by conventional allopathic means, are being treated, can be treated by these alternative medicines. Next. So these are some of the medical practices, which are either alternative or complementary to conventional medical practices, like naturopathy, Ayurveda, acupuncture, in some cases very successful. Homeopathy, we all know, herbal remedies. Then of course, yoga, pranayama and meditation. We'll talk about the yoga and pranayama meditation tomorrow when I do the demonstration. But then these are also practices, which can treat over a long period of time the ailments, one may have. I'm not recommending them as a short-term medical alternatives. Thus, holistic health gives a lot of choices, and resources available to you for medical care. So one can practice those in place of the conventional medical practices. So you can have peace and mental peace and good physical health. Next. So you want to gauge, yourself, how healthy you are, and then what's your style of living. You please ask these questions yourself. How many hours of sleep you get? One is supposed to have about 8 hours, 6 to 7 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is, depending upon the individual needs. Are you getting that much of sleep? You can question yourself. And then what's your exercise routine? What are you doing, to keep fit? Are you going for a walk? If you are younger, are you doing any jogging? Or do you go to a gym? Or do you practice yoga? Or do you play any games which are compatible to your age? These are the questions that you can ask yourself. And if you are not doing so, you might as well start doing it. And food, very important thing, nutrition. Are you eating fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, in place of canned food, in place of fast food, which is available these days? So, this is another aspect of the wellness. And your job and financial status. How happy you are in your job. Are you doing well with your boss, your colleagues in your workplace? Are you financially secure in your job? So these are some of the aspects, which will give you wellness, health. And then, how do you get along with people? What are the interpersonal conflicts which you may have? So how do you tackle them? So these are some of the other questions you can ask yourself for your own satisfaction, for your own answers. And then what kind of a social support system you have? Do your friends come to your rescue? Do your relations, support you when you are in need? So these factors also matter to find out how healthy you are and how well you are. one by one. Yeah. A few takes, A physical workout, at least 4 times a week, I suggest. You can choose any of them. Walking, jogging, gym, you can play some games, or practitioners of yoga, that also a physical workout. Here, yoga, for example, when you are walking, your lower body gets a lot of exercise. Your calf muscles, your thigh muscles, and you get aerobics, breathing. Exercise out of walking or jogging. If you go to a gym, you do a certain kind of apparatus. So that apparatus gives you enhanced muscle power or body build-up in those areas, but not in other areas. But practice of yoga is a well-rounded exercise. You can have breath control, you got body flexibility in all joints, and then you got mental concentration. So if you got a regimen of yoga for about half an hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour, consisting of all these 3 things, so that is a much well-rounded exercise routine compared to any of the other things. In fact, I used to do a lot of jogging and running during my younger days, but when I took to yoga, I stopped all that and I benefited better. Then of course, talking about healthy food, regular eating habits, sleep times, and then relaxation is very important. So you can relax, you can read a book, you can listen to music instead of watching TV, serials and things like that. So it will relaxes you and it will give you mental health. Now, you can follow holistic health, in your own way at home by seeking advice from others, by reading some books, or following, some experts in this area, or you can go to a holistic health center. There is one in Bangalore. Of course, I've not been there. I heard about it. It's a very high-class facility. It's an hour from Bangalore airport, situated in an area of 30 acres. It has about 10 buildings, one central building surrounded by a number of smaller buildings. This is the entrance to that one. You have yoga and meditation halls there. Then you got a therapy center. Of course, these are the areas where you can relax, the lounge, the dining hall. It's a 5-star facility, the bedrooms. So want to spend money and then get yourself treated there in a holistic center. That's the answer for you. Thank you. My personal experiences, in the area, the holistic part of it, I'm more into yoga. Of course, if you look at my exercise regime, I go for about 3-4 days for a walk, and then 4 days of yoga in the morning, an hour, okay? And I play golf for 3 days. So my exercise regime is quite well rounded. So when you talk about meditation, it revolves around the yogic practice. Okay? Now there are some asanas, there are some not asanas, there are some pranayams, where not only you control your breath, but then you also meditate. Okay, that means your mind is allowed to focus only on certain things. You try to harness your mind. So in that area, even though compared to many of the senior people, yogis, I'm quite an amateur, but then my experience is that it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. It brings you a lot of peace, mental peace, and then of course it gives you fitness, and then the other things. Thank you.
Sudhakar has done a wonderful job. I requested him to make it 20 minutes. He did it exactly 20 minutes. Let's give a big clap once again. Now I request Janardhan Rao. I'll give it take 40 minutes and and at the end of 40 minutes he will stop. He will speak on life after death. He can speak for 3 hours on that subject, but I requested him to restrict to 40 minutes because we have a lot of other things to do after that. Janardhan Rao.
నమస్కారం. నేను ఈ లెక్చర్ ఇవ్వడానికి సుధాకర్ గారు ఇచ్చినట్టుగా ఆ టైంలో కంట్రోల్ చేయడం చాలా డిఫికల్ట్. బట్ ఆ టైం నేను మానేస్తాను. తర్వాత డిన్నర్ తర్వాత టైం ఉంటే కనీసం 4-5 కానీ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంటే ఐ విల్ కంటిన్యూ. ఈ సబ్జెక్ట్ కనీసం 4,000 సంవత్సరాలు 5,000 సంవత్సరాల నుంచి ఈ లైఫ్ ఉన్నదా, డెత్, ఈ మళ్ళీ ఆత్మ పుట్టుకుంది, సాగుపోయి, దీని గురించి ఎప్పటినుంచో జరుగుతున్నాయి. బట్ నా సబ్జెక్ట్ అంటే నేను ఫిలాసఫర్ కాదు. బట్ వాట్ ఐ వాంట్ టు డూ ఈస్ ఐ వాంట్ టు సీ ఫ్రమ్ సైంటిఫిక్ టెక్నిక్స్ ఆర్ టెక్నాలజీస్ ఆర్ అసెస్మెంట్ హౌ ద ఓల్డ్ వర్షీస్ చెప్పినవి అవి ఎంతవరకు మనకి అప్లికబుల్ ఆర్ యాక్సెప్టబుల్. దట్ ఈస్ వన్ థింగ్. ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే ఈ సైంటిఫిక్లో ఎవరో చెప్తున్నారు గోయింగ్ టు టాక్ అబౌట్ స్పిరిచువలిజం. ఆ టాక్లో స్పిరిచువలిజం లేదు. ఎందుకంటే స్పిరిచువలిజం అన్నది యాక్చువల్గా టాక్ టు అటైన్ మోక్ష. దట్ ఈస్ హౌ ఇన్ ఇండియన్ కాన్టెక్స్ట్ స్పిరిచువలిజం కమ్స్. బట్ ఇన్ వెస్టర్న్ సొసైటీ స్పిరిట్ అంటే వాళ్ళు మన ఆత్మ అనే విధంగా స్పిరిట్ అంటారు. సో ఆ విధంగా కొంచెం డిఫరెన్స్ వస్తుంది. బట్ అదర్వైజ్ ఐ నాట్ టాకింగ్ ఎనీథింగ్ అబౌట్ రిలీజియస్ ప్రాక్టీసెస్, but it is only a scientific appraisal of all the theories, what our sages have told, what biblical sayings are there, and Jainism, Buddhism, what they have all told. Then how yogis, what yogis have felt. Then subsequently, whatever they have told is written, but how to accept it? You will get moksha, you will have incarnation, all those things. Unless you have some practically acceptable as a scientific view, you cannot simply accept. Only పెద్దవాళ్ళు చెప్తారు విన్నాం, కానీ అందరూ అది జరగాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. ఈ విధంగా ఆలోచించి నేను ఈ వర్క్ 1 year నుంచి నేను మొదలుపెట్టాను స్టడీ. సో ఐఎమ్ అమెచ్యూర్. తర్వాత నేను స్ట్రక్చర్డ్ లెక్చర్ చేయడానికి అంటే ప్రిపేర్ అవ్వలేదు, ఎందుకంటే ఈ టైంలో సరిపోదు కాబట్టి. బట్ వాట్ ఎవర్ పాసిబుల్ ఐ విల్ డూ ఇట్. అండ్ అదర్ థింగ్స్ క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్స్. సో 35 minutes తర్వాత మానేస్తాను. 5 minutes క్వశ్చన్స్ అడగండి. అదర్వైజ్ సో ఇప్పుడు నేను మాట్లాడేదాన్ని హైపోథసిస్ ఏమిటంటే ది సోల్ ఈజ్ వితౌట్ బర్త్ అండ్ వితౌట్ డెత్. ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ ఏ కాంబినేషన్ ఆఫ్ మ్యాటర్ పార్టికల్స్. యాజ్ బయాలజిస్ట్, సైంటిఫిక్ బయాలజీ వాళ్ళు, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓన్లీ కాంబినేషన్ ఆఫ్ మ్యాటర్ పార్టికల్స్ అని అది ఒపీనియన్. నౌ దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు చేంజ్. 1994లో మన సైంటిస్టులు ఇద్దరికి, ఇంక్లూడింగ్ పంజాబీ బోర్న్ ఉన్నారు కదా, హరగోవింద్ ఖురానా, వాళ్ళకి దే హ్యావ్ ఇన్ ది ల్యాబొరేటరీ దే హ్యావ్ డెవలప్డ్ ఏ బ్యాక్టీరియా. దెన్ వాళ్ళ నోబెల్ ప్రైజ్ కూడా వచ్చింది. తర్వాత చూస్తే ఏమైందంటే వాళ్ళు బ్యాక్టీరియా ల్యాబొరేటరీలో డెవలప్ చేసినప్పుడు దే హ్యావ్ యూజ్డ్ ఎంజైమ్. ఆ ఎంజైమ్ ఏంటంటే ఇట్ ఈస్ హ్యావింగ్ ద వైరస్. So what they did is, from virus they brought a new type of bacteria. Virus is a living being. So living being is inko living being is not acceptable. So that subsequently it was not considered as a development in chemical laboratory or biological laboratory, creation of a life. It is not accepted. But first everybody was thinking, oh, they have created a soul, a living being from chemicals. It is not true. As of now, by knowledge, it is not possible. It has not happened as including microbiology and biology, so many things. Then another possibility is neither created nor can be destroyed. The soul, this is the soul. So means it is pre-existing. Since when it is pre-existing is the question. Once scientifically చూస్తే today we have how the universe is created. Universe is created 2000 years around that they were thinking it is a Big Bang theory అని వచ్చింది. Big Bang theory లో క్రియేట్ అయింది But when they were analyzing the Big Bang theory has a lot of flaws. It was not able to explain from T0 how energy has come. So then they have some methodology. They said that it is not from T0, it is from T10 to the power of minus 42 seconds onwards. అప్పటి నుంచే వాళ్ళు ఇచ్చిన ఈక్వేషన్స్ వ్యాలిడ్ అవుతాయి. ఇఫ్ యూ ఆర్ గోయింగ్ బిఫోర్ దట్ T0 to T10 to the power minus 42, T is equal to 10 to the power minus 42 seconds, then equations are not valid. So the Big Bang theory also is an avoidance. It explains certain features only, just like quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics cannot be applied in large scale, it only applies for atoms and molecules like this. Similarly, gravitational theory is a universal theory, it applies everywhere, including our Einstein's theory of general relativity. But ఇప్పుడు తర్వాత ఈ యూనివర్స్ క్రియేషన్లో దే హ్యావ్ బ్రాట్ అప్ టు మేకప్ సమ్ ఆఫ్ ది డెఫిషియన్సీస్ థియరీ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫ్లేషన్స్. ఈ సైంటిస్ట్ హాకింగ్ ఆయన తీసుకొచ్చిన థియరీలో ఇన్ఫ్లేషన్ థియరీ అని తీసుకొచ్చారు. ఆ ఇన్ఫ్లేషన్ థియరీలో కంటిన్యూస్గా యూనివర్స్ రైజ్ అయ్యి సడన్లీ ఇదై బిగ్ బ్యాంగ్ అంటే బిగ్ బ్యాంగ్తోనే స్టార్ట్ అయ్యి యూనిఫామ్గా వచ్చి at some time it has become inflation, it is uncontrollable, it is not none of the equations we have is able to explain. అందుచేత వాళ్ళు they have brought the concept of inflation. Scientists కూడా ఏం చేస్తారంటే they will formulate a theory, then try to do experiments, and if you are successful the theory holds good, otherwise it gets changed. So in this inflation theory, now present cosmology theory prakaram, universe is not one as we are thinking. Ours is one universe. There are multiple universes. So now it is universes, not universe. That is present cosmological concept. అందుచేత ఏంటంటే మన యూనివర్స్ లో ఈవెన్ థియరీ ఆఫ్ స్పెషల్ రిలేటివిటీ ఆర్ థియరీ ఆఫ్ జనరల్ రిలేటివిటీ ఆఫ్ ఐన్స్టీన్ వర్క్స్, ఇట్ మే నాట్ వర్క్ ఇన్ అదర్ యూనివర్సెస్. దట్ ఈస్ ది ప్రజెంట్ స్టేటస్. అందుచేత ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఆరిజిన్ ఆఫ్ యూనివర్స్ దీన్నే మనం ఇంకా కొట్టుకు చేస్తాం తెలియదు. ఇంకా ఒక ఆయన ఇది అంటాడు, ఇంకొక ఆయన వచ్చి అది ఇన్వాలిడ్ అని. మెటీరియలిస్టిక్ యూనివర్స్ తెలియదు. ఈ సోల్ అన్నది ఫర్దర్ మంచి డిఫికల్ట్ ఇష్యూ, బికాస్ సోల్ కెనాట్ బి ఫెల్ట్. యాజ్ ఆఫ్ నౌ we have 4 fundamental forces in nature. One is nuclear forces, weak nuclear forces, strong nuclear forces, and gravitational forces, and electromagnetic forces. I try to see whether anywhere it fits. This soul, the mechanism of soul is not fitting in any one of them. But the indications by psychological regression, what they are telling, soul is having, it is an energy. This energy is not susceptible for time and space constraints as we see present universe. Means gravity doesn't work, time, soul ఎక్కడి నుంచి వేరే లోకం, దేవలోకం, ఇంకా ఏదో లోకం, ఇంకో యూనివర్స్ వెళ్ళినా it goes instantly, time is not known. Whereas మన యూనివర్స్ లో ఇట్స్ నాట్ యాక్సెప్టబుల్ కాన్సెప్ట్. ఇట్ హ్యాస్ టు గో అట్ మాక్సిమం at the velocity of light travel, but for this it is not applicable. So ఈ ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ 4 ఫండమెంటల్ ఫోర్సెస్ లో ఈ సోల్ రావట్లేదు. దట్స్ మై కంక్లూజన్. బట్ I am not going structurally, I am going as and when there is deviations are required, I will just go. Then another ఈ పాస్టులేట్ అంటే the soul is traveling through various physical states and mental planes. Mental planes is mind. So ఇక్కడ మైండ్, మనస్, ఇప్పుడు సుధాకర్ గారి లెక్చర్లో మైండ్ అని చెప్పారు, హోలిస్టిక్ దాంట్లో మైండ్. బట్ వెన్ యూ కమ్స్ టు దిస్, అవర్ దట్ మైండ్ అండ్ దిస్ మైండ్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు డిఫరెన్షియేట్. దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ కాన్షియస్ మైండ్. దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ కాన్షియస్ మైండ్. నౌ ఈ సైబర్నెటిక్స్, ఈ doctors or scientists working on the brain and memory. Now we have mind, two different minds. One is called conscious mind, other one is called subconscious mind, and the third is the superconscious mind. And దీనికి regression technology, they are able to get direct proofs. These three are different. So the mind అన్నది ఇప్పుడు మనం అనుకునే మైండ్ అంతా కాన్షియస్ మైండ్. కాన్షియస్ మైండ్ మీన్స్ ఐఎమ్ స్పీకింగ్, యు ఆర్ ఆల్ హియరింగ్, అండ్ యూ విల్ ఇఫ్ ఐ do something to you, you will react. So this is conscious mind. The subconscious mind and superconscious mind are suppressed and they are associated with the soul. So the clinical scientists and psychologists, they are telling the superconscious mind should be something equal to soul, and subconscious mind is an attendant. So when the body or a living being dies, definitely the subconscious mind and the superconscious mind or soul in our language both will go. And మన వేదాంతంలో ఈ సబ్కాన్షియస్ మైండ్ చిత్తము అంటారు, వేరేస్ ప్రీవియస్ లైఫ్. సో దానికి ఆ విధంగా మళ్ళీ రీఇన్కార్నేషన్ వచ్చినప్పుడు వితౌట్ ఎనీ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ అండ్ ఆల్ దోస్ థింగ్స్, ఈ మెమరీ తోటి దే ఆర్ ఏబుల్ టు, ది సోల్ ఈజ్ ఏబుల్ టు డైరెక్ట్ ది న్యూలీ బోర్న్ baby or whatever else one, till that gets into the conscious mind. For example, పిల్లవాడు పుట్టినప్పుడు వాడి దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి మదర్ చూడగానే వాడు నవ్వుతాడు. వాడికి అసలు నవ్వటం ఇవ్వటం అది మన ఎవరు ఆకలి వేస్తే వాడు ఏడుస్తాడు, ఇన్స్టింక్ట్ ఏడుస్తాడు. ఎవరైనా ముసుకొని ఊరితే కళ్ళు మూసుకొని ఫియర్ వస్తాయి. కోడి పిల్లలు పుట్టిన నాకు తెలిసి చిన్నప్పుడు మా పుట్టిన కోడి పిల్ల గద్దగానే చూడగానే అది తల్లి మా ఒళ్ళలోకి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. కానీ ఎవరు నేర్పలేదు, అది ఎత్తుకుపోతుందని దీనికి తెలియదు. బట్ ఫ్రమ్ దట్ సబ్కాన్షియస్ మైండ్ ది సోల్ అండ్ సబ్కాన్షియస్ టుగెదర్ వర్కింగ్, ఫైండ్ దేర్ ఇస్ ఎ ఫియర్. సో వీ హ్యావ్ టు గో ఫర్ ప్రొటెక్షన్ అండర్ మదర్. అట్లాగా సిమిలర్లీ ఈ స్నేక్స్, ఇవి మిగతా సంవత్సరాలు స్నేక్, టైగర్స్, ఇటువంటివి పిల్లలు పట్టగానే అవి పారిపోతాయి తల్లి దగ్గర. ఎందుకంటే తల్లి తినేస్తే అది తల్లి తినేస్తుంది అనేది వీడికి ఎట్లా తెలుసు అంటే సబ్కాన్షియస్ మైండ్ ద్వారా దే హ్యావ్ గాట్ దట్. అదర్వైజ్ వాళ్ళకి అప్పటికే కళ్ళు తెరిచిన పిల్లలు వాళ్ళకి తెలియదు అనమాట. ఈ విధంగా దట్ ఈస్ హౌ ది ప్రజెంట్ థింకింగ్. సో దే ఆర్ యాక్సెప్టింగ్ నౌ యాజ్ చిత్తం ప్లస్ సోల్, ఆత్మ, ఈ రెండు కలిసి వెళ్తాయి. ఈ చిత్తము ఏమో మెమరీ ఉంచుతుంది, పాస్ట్ లైఫ్ మెమరీస్ ఇవి ఉంచుతుంది. వేరే సోల్ అన్నది ప్యూర్ ఎనర్జీ సోర్స్. ఆ ప్యూర్ ఎనర్జీ సోర్స్ ప్యూరిటీ పోతే ఇట్ హ్యాస్ టు గెట్ ప్యూరిఫైడ్. సో మన థియరీ ఏంటంటే మన పాపాలు ఎక్కువ చేస్తే మన పాపాలు ఎక్కువ డెబిట్ అకౌంట్ అయిపోతుంది. సో మనం మళ్ళీ పుట్టి మళ్ళీ ఎన్ని. బట్ యాజ్ ఫర్ దేర్ క్లినికల్ ఫైండింగ్స్, those people who are under deep hypnosis, who will go to subconscious, superconscious state, they are able to tell your energies, and they have given, there are 1975 నుంచి ఇప్పటి వరకు at least